With an edition of NFL More or Less. Bart, I'll start with you. More or less, Aaron Rodgers, 2.5 touchdowns against the Bears.
Come on, we already understand historically how this thing goes. Look at me. I'm the captain now. You know, and not a captain got thunder thighs. Did you see thunder thighs running last week? This dude, I didn't agree with them signing A.J. Dillon, but he's added a lot of punch to that offense now. Now you can't just come down and sit back and try and defend the pass. Now you got to pull the 8-man box, and these guys making them pay. I think they're only going to continue to get better. I'm excited to see how Jalen Smith plays in his defense, and if he can add a little pop, a little explosiveness.
Okay, so we like that one. Kimberly, Patrick Mahomes, more or less, 3.5 touchdowns against Washington.
Greeny, more. We just talked about what's wrong with the Chiefs. This is going to be another get-right game for the Chiefs, and they're facing a Washington team that's giving up over 35 points. And unlike the Bills' defense, this Washington team is not generating turnovers. I think they have 2 in the last 3 games. That's not like the Bills. So Patrick Mahomes, yeah, he's putting up numbers.
Washington's defense may be the most disappointing unit in the entire
Remember
NFL.
When you really liked them?
Yes,
You're really
I do.
High on them?
Lewis,
yeah.
More or less, Dak Prescott, 3.5 touchdowns against New England.
I'm going to say less. I'm going to say, look, the quickest way to lose football games, as we know, are explosive plays when a team just throws the ball over your head. I've listened to Bill Sett in his meetings too many times to know that is something that he is stressing right now. That's not to say that they're just going to give up the run game, but I think he will try to make sure that in the deep part of the field, Dak just doesn't go crazy here. And in the red area, they'll play good defense. So yeah, I'm going to say less than 3.5 for Dak.
All right, fair enough. Now, a lot of people have gotten somewhat carried away with the success of the Cowboys so far. You know who's among them? Amari Cooper is among them. Amari Cooper is thinking super thoughts. He says when you're on a roll like this, you start thinking about a Super Bowl. That's just the reality of it. You start to want it more and more the closer you get, and you start to worry about the little things more. Bart Scott, what do you think of those comments from Amari Cooper?
No, he's right to think that, but I just don't think you verbalize that because that puts a bullseye on your back. Now, listen, they're a team that's going to win that division. No, I remember like when Rex said that, now we got team's best effort because they wanted to make sure that we put our foot in our mouth. And, like, listen, this team has everything. This guy, on the road, what you have to pack in the playoffs is a run game and a defense. The defense is opportunistic, and that's usually what happens. That's what you need from a defense when you can salt away possessions and run the football like they're able to run. But it is a very long season. And, you kind of just want to stay underneath the radar. You don't want to and I know that's hard to do for any Dallas Cowboy, because they are the franchise that is the most popular America's team. But, I would just want him to keep those comments to himself and keep it amongst each other. They have a lot to deal with. And what I don't want them to do is get complacent because their schedule is relatively easy. And then all of a sudden you get in the playoffs, it's a different level. And now you're playing against teams that can punch back.
Well, Lewis, you said earlier on the program, you think this is a must-win game for New England, which sort of made it sound to me like you consider this a week where the Cowboys could stumble here, as you have watched Dallas, and they have been the talk of the sport so far. What are you seeing?
Yeah, offensively, there's no question that they are in a premium sweet spot, meaning no matter what you do, whatever you try to focus on, they can hit you with the counterpunch because they're that well-rounded. You put 8 in the box, they're going to kill you one-on-one on the outside. You put 2 high and really try to play umbrella, you see what they can do with with Zeke and Tony Pollard. They can just bludgeon you right down the middle of the field and just run the ball, run you out of that 2 high shell. And then as soon as Dak says, look, I think you're going to be in single high here, he's going to try and push the ball down the field. So that's a problem. Now, defensively, they're not a finished product by any means. They feast off of turnovers. This team feasts off of the turnover differential. They're number 2 in the NFL. They're +7. And we know that turnovers equate to, or rather winning the turnover differential equates to winning in the NFL. And it's no different with Dallas. And they have got it in their favor right now, just like the Buffalo Bills that are number 1 in the NFL, I believe at +11. They're steamrolling people because extra possessions for an explosive offense means more points, which means more pressure on the other team's offense. And then they put the ball in the air, and then that's when Trayvon Diggs goes to work. So this is all just it's a great formula for them right now. We'll see if New England can break it because I know this. Bill preaches the same thing. Get turnovers, take the ball away from the other team. Don't beat yourself. Dallas isn't beating itself right now. They have to find a way to make them beat themselves. We'll see. They're desperate, that being New England. Dallas right now is riding high, as Amari Cooper obviously has already kind of illuminated to the rest of us.
That's right. And to that point, Trayvon Diggs, He has a catch in every game this year, and he plays defense. I mean, it's just a remarkable stat in every imaginable way. So when you have one of the team stars talking Super Bowl, what do you think?
I'm okay with it. You know why? Because all Amari Cooper did was say the quiet part out loud. You know, the difference is this Bills team that I just covered treated a few years ago, they would have treated that game beating the Chiefs like they won the Super Bowl. Now they're like, you know, we have bigger goals. We're not worried about week 5. But the Cowboys are the same way. But we put the expectations on the Cowboys. Every year we're like, are the Cowboys legit? And some of us at this table actually was high on the Cowboys in the offseason.
That's true. No, you were 100%.
Put that chip in the middle of the table.
No,
put something on that. You want to put your eyebrows on it? No, just play.
Unlike you, I'm not about to bet that, no.
That was actually me she was coming at with that one. But I will come back to you, because you said when Rex would do all this, she said the quiet part out loud. There was no quiet part with Rex Ryan, obviously, when he's a coach or as an analyst. Right. So you're saying that you think that can matter when guys start talking that way?
Of course, because everybody's looking to make a name for themselves, and teams are looking for respect. So how do you get that respect? You get that respect from the flavor of the week. And the flavor of the week right now to Dallas Cowboys. So if you're going to see them, so now you're going to get every team's best effort. So what you want to do, you don't want to make sure that they come out there with all that enthusiasm, because, you know, you always going to have a flat game where you're kind of beat up, you're tired, and you're trying to be lethargic. You saw that with the Ravens on Monday night. They thought they can get by the Colts, and now they was in a bigger fight than they wanted because they had an opponent that wanted to make a name off them.
Okay, let's talk about a quarterback, meanwhile, who just set it all on fire on Monday night. What a performance. It's a Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, the 19-point comeback win over the Colts. You saw it, earning AFC Offensive Player of the Week, and that just seems like the beginning. Yesterday, he was talking about his personal growth and the early season success for his team. Here's what he said.
Been believing in myself. You know, the Raven organization been believing in me. You know, we just got to keep it going. I really haven't, seen my peak yet. You know, it's still early in the season. Just got to keep staying focused.
Well, so, Louis, you were there. Of course, it was your job to put it into context real time. But now that you've had a few days to sort of digest it, how do you describe what we saw Monday night and are seeing in general right now from Lamar Jackson?
Well, in order to describe it, I'd have to go back to the offseason after last year ended with them getting bounced out of the playoffs in Buffalo. What did Lamar then prioritize as far as what he needed to do to take his game to another level? What did John Harbaugh prioritize and communicate to Lamar what he needed to do to take his game to another level? When those two got together this offseason, they told us when we talked to them before the game, they basically had the same things written down on a sheet of paper. So they were already on the same path as far as taking Lamar games to the next level, being more comfortable in the pocket, being more solid with his fundamentals, being quicker with his reads, being more confident in his players as far as his receiving core outside the numbers when it came time to push the ball down the field. He was going to, that being John Harbaugh in the front office, we're going to deliver more weapons for Lamar so he could then take advantage of all the work he was doing. And you know what? They did that too. And now you're seeing it all come together to a degree where no matter what the circumstances are, he is going to rise to the occasion, and that the old script of put this team behind, make them play from a deficit, and we've got them figured out. That's not working, man. It's not working. And they're still not at 100% offensively because their best receiver, Rashad Bateman, hasn't even played yet. And I saw him in practice down there. Let me tell you something. When number 12 comes out there at wide receiver for them, it's really going to get hot. It's really going to get hot for secondaries because this kid is the truth. Yeah. And they have got it going on right now. They're in a nice spot, starting with Lamar Jackson.
Bateman, a first-round pick out of Minnesota, who, to Lewis's point, has not yet played. Yeah. So, what is Lamar Jackson right now?
He's box office. I mean, he's the greatest show in town, in the NFL. I know a lot of people want to give that credit to Kyler Murray, but Lamar Jackson's doing this without a great supporting cast right now. You talk about losing Orlando Brown Jr. You talk about Ronnie Stanley not being available. Hollywood Brown, even though he's had some good games, he wouldn't be your 1 or 2 on most of the teams that have, MVP caliber quarterbacks. So Lamar Jackson's put this all on himself, and he's carrying a team, an organization that can't, win games right now. This defense is still trying to figure itself out. At the cornerback position, they're really struggling. And Lamar Jackson said, it doesn't matter what the circumstances is. I'll figure it out, coach. And that's what you want to see from a franchise quarterback. To me, he's the best quarterback in the league right now. He's doing more than any other quarterback is asked to do. You talk about he's on pace for 5,000 yards passing and over 1,000 yards rushing, and that would be historic, and nobody in the history of football either now or in the future can ever duplicate that. He's a special talent.
Best quarterback in the
like that
league
means it's on
right
segment.
now.
The
Kmart,
best
what do you
player.
think?
Let me the best player.
Best
Let me
player
say
in
that.
the
Best
league.
player, period.
What do you think?
No, I won't get into best player in the league.
Why
but
not? Let's do it. It's fun. Is he the best player in the league? Right.
He's the most exciting, most explosive.
He's got more yards than 16 teams.
Yes, he leads the league in yards and completion, and he's second in rushing average. I mean, the guy is a spectacular talent, and that's why I laugh when people in the league venture to say that this is the year we figured out Lamar.
Yeah.
Excuse me? Maybe Lamar is figuring out y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's saying, I don't think I've peaked yet. I love that, because that is scary.
No, we figured it out. We figured it out. He's as good as anybody in the league. I mean, that's what we have figured out about Lamar Jackson at this point, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have a Stephon Diggs, right? Just wait till he gets one of those. And if Bateman is that, look out.
Yeah, I mean, he and Brady were the NFC and offensive and NFC defense offensive players of the week this week. There's a 20-year age difference between the two of them. It is a remarkable.